Hey, what is up? What is up? Good morning, everybody. Here's my glasses. Thank you for those who joined last night in the St. Paisios Brotherhood for our talk on betrayal and forgiveness. What a perfect topic. It was so wonderful to hear from all of you and your experiences. We've all gone through betrayal. And how do we forgive in the midst of betrayal? And it was, as some of you discussed in the St. Paisios Brotherhood, it was intense. It was a really intense session and discussion, but I think it was very healing. And so I thank all of you who joined us last night. I think we didn't get the first 10-15 minutes recorded, but you could reach out to Gary or Father Hans to try to get the rest of it. So apologize that the first part didn't get recorded. But what else? Is it in my Discord, the Orthodox Christian? Hush tones? Because I probably know the deacon if that. Or a Discord. In my Discord? Orthodox Christian Discord or. Oh, cool. Wonderful. Very good. Good to know. I'm glad we have clergy in there too. That can help. All right. Let's just see. Let me just give some shout outs and then some announcements, and then we'll kick it off. Get your coffee. Oh, I love coffee. No super chats yet. Okay. Don't forget, I'm still taking enrollment, even though we're in week 3. If you want to add the course, this course is the same course I teach at the universities and colleges that I work at. It is also fulfills all the requirements of which for accreditation, because the colleges are accredited, and also everything I learned that with my online teaching certificate on how to build these, and that this was approved through that when I build these courses through Canvas. And in light of that, and being a professor myself who teaches this course at other colleges, and chairs and deans allow, I mean, you have to get their approval, but they do allow this to be transferred, because this is, and this is a course that's cheaper than even the cheapest community college. And plus, you get far more with this course, because you get 16 office hours. And those office hours have been going. And that itself, if I just gave you an hour, is worth over $1,400. You're getting like 2 hours. Every time we go, we're about 2 hours. So, suppose you didn't get anything else. You didn't get the lectures, the graded homework, the exams, the textbooks in itself. I mean, you're getting, just in tutoring and live office hours through Zoom, $2,800 worth of So for $750, think about how awesome that is. And yes, you can, once you get approval from your chair, if you're in college, or the dean, you can transfer that. So it's really a great deal. And you can just ask anybody that's taken those online Canvas courses. They're an interactive program. It's not like the other packages of just pre-recorded lectures. It's a full course. An interactive asynchronous course that you can actually get credit for. So make sure, if you're interested, we have one scholarship available at half price due to a charitable contribution. If you're financially in a situation where you can't afford that but really want to take the course, please reach out to me. If you want to go at your own pace, you don't have to worry about making up the work. You can do that. But we are in week 3. Three deacons and 2 priests. I was baptized in St. Barnabas in Costa Mesa, and there were like 3 deacons and 2 priests. I don't know if that's where you go, but that's amazing. I used to, and then after that, I went to the Romanian parish up, in Anaheim, and then the priest sent me off to seminary and stuff like that, and got ordained. And I had a brother deacon. It was really cool to serve with another deacon. Everything is synchronized, right? Every movement, and it was amazing because we could talk without speaking. You just look at each other, like we were so connected. I really do miss my brother deacon, Father Deacon Marius, who is now in Romania. He's been in Romania. He moved to Romania the same time I moved up to Montana in 2020, August or September 2020. All right, let's see. Other announcements. Our newest addition to the MontaNIKA Conference, His Eminence Metropolitan Jonah, former primate of the Orthodox Church of America, now ROCOR, Bishop of ROCOR, will be one of the workshop speakers and lecturers. So we have 2 bishops coming. We're so excited. I mean, this conference just gets better and better. My heart's pounding. I'm so excited for those of you coming up. You can ask anybody. It really is a life-transforming experience, and there's no words that you really can. You got to come taste and see. I can advertise and talk about all this stuff, but like Father Turbo said, I didn't want to say you were exaggerating, but it really is beyond words. There's nothing. Father Turbo will be with us, obviously. Father Vasilius Thermos, His Grace Bishop Maxim will be the keynote speaker when the conference is under, and has been under for the last 3 or 4 years. He's our bishop here, the Holy Trinity, Serbian Orthodox Church, Father Panagiotos, Father Andrew. I mean, we have and then we have a bunch of other priests coming up too that are going to be not doing workshops, but be participating in the conference. So what I do want to say is tickets will run out, but before tickets run out and sell out, because we have capacity and we're getting pretty close, we have exactly 3 weeks until the conference, but the hotel deal expires in 5 days. But before that expires, what I heard yesterday, there were only 2 rooms left. So that was based on availability. So it says on there you're guaranteed the when you sign up, the hotel discount. Right now, the to book a room at regular price, and it'll continue to go up as we get closer to the date. It's over $200. You get a discount at our partner hotel, Best Western Plus Butte Plaza Inn, for $115 a night. It's amazing. It's a really nice hotel. It's newly remodeled, but that's based on availability. So if you purchase a ticket, you're only guaranteed that if there's rooms available. So it was a first come, first serve. It looks like there's still some rooms available. Maybe those two haven't been taken. But after they're booked, you're not guaranteed that you can get a room. So that was the thing. You've got to book before the 26th and based on availability. So if anybody books and it's like, well, I can't get, it's like, well, you waited too long. That's why I kept telling people, get your tickets now. I mean, what's going to happen too when we sell out for the MontaNIKA and you waited too long? Like, so I really just encourage, I know that, some people don't know whether they can get time and work off, but I need to let you know that also, as it states on there are no refunds when you purchase the ticket. That money immediately gets tied up in paying for food and flight. I can't pull that out. So there were a couple people that for some reason didn't read that there's no refunds. And that's a standard policy for companies and events and stuff like that. So I know stuff comes up. What I typically do, because I can't pull the money out once it's in there because it's immediately tied up into the paying for rooms and finances and food, supplies and stuff like that. What I do is, if for some reason you did need to cancel, I typically would allow you to transfer that ticket to somebody else. So that's usually what happens. So just make sure with anything, read everything that it says so that you're not go, I didn't see it. So here is, make sure you get your, like I said, the tickets before they run out. Don't procrastinate. They are going to sell out. Yeah, I don't think we've ever had two bishops at the same time serving in their parish. I'm sure Father Lester's experienced that, but I haven't. Other announcements. Questions. I think we got all the announcements. I might be forgetting something, but there was something else. What was it? I can't remember. All right. Oh, here's an interesting thing. We talked about, obviously, the Roman Catholics are in cope seethe mode, and whining, and their arguments are getting worse and worse, especially after the Ubi debate. We covered some of that. I thought I saw something. Oh. See if we can find this. Here's the problem. Somebody fact check this, because I actually don't know if this is true. Pope Leo drops papal supremacy, urging full communion with all Christians. Is that... Can we find something on that? I just have a screenshot, but it... say May 19, 2025, but I don't know what article this is from. I don't know if it's a joke. How do I save image and pull it up? Let me see. Have you heard this? Downloads. I'm trying to save this image and then pull it up. Download. Okay, here. So I can't, there's, unless you guys saw this somewhere and can find it. It doesn't even pop the image up. What is going on? Alright, here we go. It doesn't even show anything. What is going on with my computer, man? I guess it's not going to show it. Okay. Father Michael Lillis, remember my fraud? We covered this yesterday with Lofton was going off on this. Father Michael Lillis says Roman Catholics are not serious about this. How many are denied communion over this? Yeah, so we talked about Roman Catholics are criticizing us, out of all people, on being liberal on artificial contraception. We mentioned they're not consistent in this, that they allow contraception. It's called natural family planning. They create an arbitrary standard of, oh, it has to be, first of all, remember, they say, we don't have an official position. Well, the Roman Catholic didn't until 1961. Does that mean the Roman Catholic Church wasn't the Roman Catholic Church until 1961? But the Roman Catholic changes its position on natural law. I mean, this is supposed to be rooted in natural law. And yet they change their position on natural law and then accuse us of being a liberal because we don't have their position on contraception and contraceptives written out officially the way that they did when they did in 1961. We do have a position on it. We don't come to it the same way, and the way that we deal with it is very different. We deal with it pastorally, right? And so it's a complete different system. It's totally disingenuous to say you have to actually talk about it and make a pronouncement on the way that we do. Otherwise, you're a liberal church on moral issues. It's just the disconnect and cognitive dissonance with these people. Father Michael quotes, among all women who risk unintended pregnancy, 69% of them, 68, including 68%, are currently using highly effective... Yeah. So what good does... So you have a church that's actually engaging in this, that it's allowed to. So, see, we created this abstract thing that, but we, commune people, they allow this to happen while criticizing that we don't have a position. But we do actually have a position on, you can find Ubi's video on that, on contraception. It's just crazy. So, let's see what people's response is. This guy's a joke. The sins of the faithful aren't teaching the church. It's just exactly what I brought. We're not saying the sins of the people. We're saying that, again, it's the same problem. You guys we don't allow for divorce. We have no service of divorce. What we don't do, we're in the business of healing. So, given the sin of divorce, do we kick people out of the church and never let them come back? No. That's what you guys do. You won't let people commune if they got a divorce. So we don't allow it. This is ridiculous. And so we don't allow contraception. There might be particular situations on non-abortive contraceptions that in grave situations we might allow, right? Through economia. But again, notice the Roman Catholics always commit their Kantians. Well, a rule's a rule. It doesn't matter if people go to hell or are healed or not. It's all about rule worship and the fallacy of accident, applying the rule where it's not intended to the cases it's not covered, and then they criticize for that. But the thing that Father Michael Lilly is pointing out that this guy become a saint's not understanding is, but you allow it. So you're saying, so it isn't just the people, we're pointing out the sins of parishioners. We're saying the hierarchs and the authorities of the Roman Catholic Church are double speaking. Okay, I have this document in 1961 that says it's never allowed, and then they allow it. That's what the issue is. Why this guy can't. And this is exactly so. This person, why so many Orthodox churches permit? Who, where, what? Like, you just keep saying that. And notice sin is universal, right? But you allow contraception. You do natural family planning. So I thought it was a sin. Well, so Father Michael Lilly is going to respond. There's been no dogma against non-abortive contraception in the Orthodox Church. Again. So abortive, right? Certainly. Furthermore, we do not have the Roman Catholic view of natural law, which is absurd because if you don't use your organ according to its natural function, its primary function, then you're sinning, which means since then spitting on the sidewalk is an actual sin against nature because saliva is meant for digestion and not spit. I mean, Roman Catholic natural law is absurd. The conclusions are absurd. Not using your eyes, closing your eyes, or plugging your ears is a violation of natural. I mean, this is so. So there might be cases with non-abortive contraception. Okay? So again, she's committing the fallacy of accident. And that's handled according to one's bishop and pastorally. But they're rule worshippers. They don't. And again, just like divorce, you allow it and brand it under a different name called annulment. You do the same thing with contraception. Oh, you allow contraception, we don't. And then rebrand it as natural family planning, and then actually allow 68% of Catholics to actually engage in in actual abortive contraception as well. Yeah, what is that? What? I mean, there's a lot of things that are true in the Orthodox Church that haven't been dogmatized. I mean, think about the councils. So it's not the church until it dogmatizes it. And again, this backfires on them because they didn't dogmatize issue on contraception until 1961. So it wasn't the church until 1961. I mean, this is just, it's brain rot. It's a cult. I don't know what to say. It's a total cult. Like, if you can't, I mean, think how easy these issues are to think through. It's all just cope and see. It doesn't matter. So I say, ask a Roman Catholic, what would it take for you to abandon the Roman Catholic Church? And they'll tell you nothing. There's no amount of argument. I mean, for most, I mean, obviously, with any person in a cult or another religion, they do convert when they begin to, like, be honest with themselves, that, like, and see the cracks and fissures and fundamental contradictions within their system. Those are the people that are willing to actually listen to reason and be like, you know what, you're right, and people do convert. Do you know that the Roman Catholic Church even allowed for early term abortions? And changed the position on that fairly recently? Because they were following Aristotelian kind of biology because of Aquinas. Dogmatically adhering to Aristotle. And they have the audacity to actually lecture us on these issues. I mean, they're constantly changing dogmatic positions and issues on faith and morals that aren't supposed to change. And they'll hand wave, they'll cope, they'll, try to explain their way out of, like, and it's just so obvious. It's like, you're in a cult, you're in a false religion. How do you rebuke these people without pride? I don't know what you mean by pride. I mean, I guess all you have to admit is your fallibilism. Like, I'm not saying I'm right about, and I've always been right about everything, but these are contradictions. Like, there's nothing wrong or prideful with pointing out that somebody's argument's bad. And they're engaged in contradictions. Having a correct argument and speaking the truth is not prideful. Unless you think it comes from a motivation that I can never be wrong. So, let's see if we have any super chats. What's going on, guys? No super chats? Or is my thing not working? Streamlabs. Did anybody fact check the whole... I can't, for some reason, pop this up and show it. Pope Leo drops papal supremacy, urging full communion with... You know what? I'm going to try Grok. With Pope Leo the 14th drop. Let's see what Grok says. I always like messing around with Grok. This is interesting. There's no definitive evidence that Pope Leo the 14th has formally dropped papal supremacy. Claims suggesting this stemmed from his inaugural sermon. I still have to watch that. Obviously, I heard it was very ecumenist. But his inaugural sermon on May 18, 2025, where he emphasized Christ, not Peter, as the foundational rock of Christianity and used the term sister Christian churches to promote ecumenical unity. These statements reported by sources like The Stream and Anglican Inc., so you want to look there, have been interpreted by some as a shift away from traditional Catholic interpretations of papal supremacy, particularly the idea that Peter is the rock in Matthew 16:18. Pope Leo XIV reportedly described the papal office as a call to serve the, quote, faith of his brothers and sisters and stress unity and humility, drawing on patristic exegesis, the views Christ or Peter's confession as the rock. However, other sources clarify these remarks. Of course they do. They don't constitute a legal formula. We're not. Oh, but he wasn't speaking. See what I mean? Oh, he wasn't speaking ex cathedra. So it doesn't matter. It's such a weird argument to say that the only things that matter in Roman Catholicism that you have to hold to, that matter and that you have to hold to, are ex cathedra statements. How many are there officially? They don't even know. 14? Let's see what. How many ex cathedra statements are there in the Roman Catholic? There's not going to be a definitive answer, but we'll get an idea. It's debated. One, two, three, 4, 5. Well, mentions certain canons too. Of Trent. 2 to 7. So you're telling me the only thing that matters in Roman Catholicism are 2 to 7 statements? You don't have to hold a 2 or 7 statement. Like, this is... And as you see, you can't even determine which ones are infallible. And then you're going to use some principle of fallibility to determine which one are infallible, which is the same problem that Protestants have. A fallible list of infallible scriptures. So it doesn't do anything. It's like, well, then you can never actually figure out what... So what good is it that you have a principle of infallibility if you can never determine what it is that's actually infallible? Well, the Pope can clarify. But then the Pope's not speaking ex cathedra. So he could be wrong about the infallible... Like, this is... I mean, what a con. I can't believe it. It really is a religion of cognitive dissonance. So does everybody get the argument? And by the way, they're incorrect on that. They're contradicting themselves. Roman Catholicism teaches that you have to... That what matters is dogma, both ordinary and extraordinary magisterium. So you can't say those don't matter. You still have to hold it. You can't actually say which ones are actually incorrect. You're not allowed to judge the first see or the dogmas on that and say, well, that's heresy and it's Roman. You're not allowed to do that. And number 2, you have no principle, and your system can't actually tell you which ones are actually fallible and infallible. Can't tell if the clarifications on that. It's a big maze. All promising, oh, well, this will provide certainty and clarity. And just the opposite. It provides unity. Just the opposite. I mean, it's kind of a general phenomenon among human beings, and I don't get it. How many people just believe things that people tell them without checking and investigating? It usually results from confirmation bias. We were talking last night about betrayal and slander and persecution. How many times have we seen good people slandered and persecuted, and people will just believe what they're told, even though where the information they're getting, they don't even know these people. They're not reliable sources. People believe, Roman Catholics say, well, it provides unity and clarity on all these issues, and nobody investigates that. They just take it for their word. Well, they said so. I guess it must be true. Why would somebody do that? Because you're an uncritical thinker, and it's confirmation. It's almost half of the stuff can be explained through confirmation. That's what I want. Think about this. Who are the most gullible people when it comes to things that pharmaceutical industry and the advertisement? Let's say we have a anti-fat drug that I just made up. It's let's say it's a placebo. It doesn't even do anything. Who are the people that would buy that without even looking into? The people who were like worried about being overweight, right? Those are the people fault. Like, the people are so obsessed with certitude and all this different stuff are gonna buy the placebo and the false product of, well, here's unity. They don't even question. Well, that's all because they're irrational. They're not thinking correctly. It's confirmation. Well, that's what I want, right? And they buy this. These are the sort of people that fall for this stuff. People coming out of the chaos of Protestantism and seeing they're very prone to this. There's no unity. There's, they can't answer what the canon of scripture is, what scriptures are. It's anarchical, like all these things. And the first person that comes up and says, yeah, but we don't have that. You see, we have this elaborate system that provides unity and clarity on all these issues. They buy it. They fall for those arguments. Any super chats? Literally the day of no super chats. That's what I designate. Oh, I'm wrong. See, I'm fallible. Dave the Philippian, our regular contributor, thank you so much, donates $10. So sometimes it is good to be wrong, isn't it? Okay, what else you guys want to discuss and cover? Another phenomenon that's really strange to me that I've been noticing. Now that there is sort of a sea change, got a new health director exposing the facades and cons, especially with the coof and the jabs. You actually now have even mainstream media feeling they can talk about this, where they reuse is the kind of CIA-sponsored legacy media to push propaganda on this issue and hide. You had institutions basically taking doctors' licenses away for trying to expose some of this stuff that was happening in 2020, 2021. Research universities were not allowed to investigate these things. All of that's changing. We now have even Yale's coming out with some wonderful studies about just how dangerous and ineffective the jabs are. We have all the stuff coming out about natural immunity is actually saving the whole con and previous technocratic nightmare that they created is being exposed. It's all out there. And now the legitimate quote-unquote agencies are able to kind of talk about these and come out with these findings. You now have the FDA just announced yesterday. If I could pull this up. It's pulling most of the jabs off the market until it passes high scrutiny of... let me see if I can pull this up. High scrutiny of trial data. Let's review this. FDA says no license for COVID-19 jabs for many Americans without trial data. So notice they were able to put new people in here. Dr. Marty, the head of FDA Bioethics, Biologics Evaluation Research. They have a new framework now. So they're able to break out of that technocratic controlled cronyism that was happening. Remember what I said too in 2020 that even with Dr. Malone, the creator of the mRNA, was saying it's extremely dangerous. It'll be rushed out. We can't actually do this. And yet they had this emergency thing that everybody in the world was going to die. They manipulated the data on deaths and to inflate the numbers, to rush that out, to create panic and fear, so they could rush this out without proper approval and trials. And so now all that's changed. FDA can only approve products if it concludes based on scientific evidence the benefit to harm balance is favorable. I showed in 2020 that even in a modest kind of analysis of having improper numbers and favoring on the side of the branch Covidians, there's no way that anything, like even with those numbers, even when they tried to inflate all of it and spin it, there is no way that would ever pass a benefit to harm balance to be approved by FDA, and it was. So now all this is being exposed. And there was also a thing here too to remove this. Where was it? People under 65. Because they were targeting younger people with this. Okay. we're in a position, like, I was talking to my mom about this. I think you could have known in 2020, 2021. I want to give a shout out to V. Scott. Blessed to be here. Gives donates $2. Thank you so much for joining us. I think we could have known, like most people could know, just by doing a little bit of research in 2020. But I'm willing to give a pass on that. Things are a bit different. Okay, what I don't understand is that there's absolutely no excuse now. It's in mainstream media. You have Yale and Harvard with their studies. You have the FDA coming out. You have the health director exposing all of this. There are still people out there doubling down, trying to come after and call us conspiracy theorists and murderers, and that's what I don't get. I literally found like somebody the other day accused me of being peddling conspiracy theories because I was right about everything, and now it's like there ain't nobody on your side anymore that's backing you on. How does that occur? I mean, is it just you were so brainwashed and you invested everything, right? You lost friends and families over this because you chose the wrong side, and you just can't come, no matter even your own guys are coming out, you can't come to grips with saying I'm wrong. And so you double down. And what's interesting, I saw like just combing through Twitter and different stuff, these people talk, they're so full of hate. I mean, these people want to destroy your life. These are the people that said they want you put in prison. They want you eliminated. These people even said they wished you would die from this. And they're still out there. They're in our parishes even. They work with us. They're employed like those. And it blows my mind that it's like we're now in 2025. All the stuff is out there, even in mainstream media. And they still will not stop. Austin DeTulio donates $20. Thank you so much. Afternoon, Father. I'm excited about MontaNIKA. I arrived late Wednesday night. What time is the monastery tour on Thursday? I don't want to oversleep. We'll probably meet in the church parking lot about 12:30. So feel free to sleep in Thursday morning. People will be arriving throughout Wednesday and then also Thursday morning. And then what we do in the church parking lot is we organize all the carpools to go down. It's an hour drive from the parish. So keep that in mind. I would encourage you to get a bite to eat for lunch prior to that, because we won't have time, and you don't want to eat right, immediately before the opening banquet dinner. The other people just pretended that they never did. Like the other people, the Branch Covidians, that tried to get us fired, tried to get us defrocked, or like all over this, tried to ruin our lives, our reputations, turn family members and friends against us. The other group of people just pretended like they never said that stuff. So there's three groups of people. There's a very small percentage of people who apologize. It was like, I was wrong. God bless them. There's another group of people who pretended it never even happened. They will not acknowledge, and they will be judged, unfortunately. The third group of people are the people that I just mentioned that are just doubling down. But I'm always interested in the psychology of like, how did somebody get that far out to be somebody like that? We have Carter Hodges. I'm an inquirer in my Greek church had women cantors day and regularly on weekdays. I don't think that's a hill worth dying on. Yeah, there is no office of cantor for women. Okay. Does that mean that it can't be allowed at certain times? No. Does that mean that there aren't people who are actually using that within the church to blur the boundaries between the roles? I mean, no. Like, that definitely is going on too. But again, it's not strictly a canonical violation. The motivations, most of it is not good. I wouldn't personally have it, but I don't think it's necessarily a hill to die on. It's not strictly a canonical violation, as long as they're not actually tonsuring them a reader or something like that. Again, I don't like it. I don't approve it, but I don't think it's in of itself a reason to leave a parish. Yeah, that's what's so sad too. That kind of, you're not allowed to be employed. You're not allowed to play soccer. You're not allowed, like, literally over a lie that they felt. I mean, total totalitarian. I'm telling you, these people were calling for your death and for you to be locked up. That's what's insane. And it's the same thing. All in, oh, because you don't love people and you don't care and you want everybody. So notice the kind of the hypocrisy. They hide their crimes and their intentions by putting the words love and care and all these things when they don't. Like, they don't. It's typical leftist liberal. That's why most people who fell for this were on that side of the political spectrum. Husband Tones donates $9.99. My dad won't let me see my little brother unless my wife and I were. Oh my gosh. Biggest regret of our lives. To this day, he's still deluded. I'm so sorry. I mean, I'm so sorry. Like, there you go. I don't even know what to do. How would you even prevent this from happening again? Oh, I got good news from a parishioner. Yay. Very happy. I remember Father Josiah saying, may we never let this happen again. Well, that's hard, without imposing full kind of totalitarian kind of, and have courts where, like, these people are sentenced and stuff. Like, I don't know how to prevent something like this evil from happening again. It's a really difficult question. It often is. It's easy to identify the problem. It's really difficult to figure out the solution too. And yeah, we're finding all the links with the cancer as well. Whew. Yeah, total psychological. I mean, we're in a day and age where it is so easy to propagandize and control people. So we could start to work on that. And part of it's the way society is formed, the kind of cronyism. First of all, I link this to technocracy. and the cronyism that develops out of the technocratic kind of rule, social media, and that we get all our information. It makes us really ripe, and we've been being conditioned to basically not be able to think. Going all the way back to, the 50s and 60s. Most prominently, this is when these, both with the MK Ultra experiments and the rise of behaviorism and conditioning, and then advertisement and psychology, how that all kind of worked. Those MK Ultra programs and data was rolled out into basically advertisement and media, and how to basically control and get people to think whatever you want them to think. As well as culture creation. What did I just find out? Something really crazy. I was talking to my friend. Some lady was involved in something. He found that she's literally the daughter of Edward Bernays. I'm probably spelling that wrong. But it was something that she just, I think it's Anne Bernays. Anne Bernays. Let's see what was she just involved in? Or, does anybody know? Gosh, it's driving me crazy. I can't remember. But I was like, well, ain't that interesting? Yeah, Gen Z's a lot better at not falling for the stuff. Thank God. There's a lot of good things to praise Gen Z about. I know sometimes I can be critical of them, but that is definitely what did she just was involved in? I mean, she's a feminist. I can't find it. Oh well, if you guys remember, obviously it was some type of propaganda or something like that. And then my buddy was like, "Yeah, did you know that Anne Bernays was the founder and backer of this?" Yeah, that's a good point. But there's also Doomers. Um, Yeah, good point about victimhood mentality. Let me see if we have any more super chats. I want to never forget. We get Dave Flippian during the time. V Scott $2. Marito, is that even $3? Hey Father Deacon, can you be Orthodox and marry a Protestant girl? Economia. It's not recommended. It might be allowed. Again, we're not legalistic rule followers. There's certain things that, like, obviously rules you could never break. There's no exceptions. But like I said, there might be things that we may allow for that under certain conditions. It's the priests and the bishops under their discretion. But given it's probably more common in the United States and allowed than you would ever seen in the past because of the unique situation that we're kind of in. Austin DeTillo, $20. Yes. Hush Tones at $9.99. Okay, so I think I got everybody. Foot is healing well. I have, I'm able to put about 85 pounds of pressure. I can actually stand up in the shower. What I can't do, I can't walk without the crutches, because when you make your stride, you put all your weight on the other foot. So I'm not there yet. I'm praying that I will be able to be walking without the walking boot by Pentecost when His grace comes here for paternal feast. So keep praying for me. Yeah. Anna Bernays bagels, exactly. Well, Christ did not come here to establish a political. That's what the Jews were looking for, a political Messiah. However, you need to be really careful about that too. So it's in terms of first thing. So it's really easy to fall into an either or. Therefore, politics and civil duties don't matter. And you see a lot of this, like, I just pray and I do Orthodox, all politics and my civic duties are meaningless. That's definitely not the case. God establishes authorities and you're to obey them. He is not an anarchist. And unless you're a monastic where, you're purposely for the salvation, praying for and doing liturgies for the salvation of the world and working on your salvation in that particular way, where you kind of exit out of those kinds of duties, I would definitely say absolutely politics matters. It's just like a third and fourth thing, and the problem is that people typically put that as a first thing. So you work on your first things, you seek first the kingdom of God, and the rest of you will be, these things will be added to you. Also, your politics and your political decisions are informed by the faith in which you live and the virtues of which you acquire. And it's important too, as Machiavelli says, and I'm not a Machiavellian, but that we don't become so ideological that we're practically no good in terms of civics and politics, that there is no good system. There's no good, perfect politician. And it isn't, I don't want to put it in you're choosing the lesser of two evils. You're just being, it's just more mature to kind of realize you're not as idealized. And you're able to identify it. Like, there's certain things in the world that are far more dangerous and devastating. And how do I practically deal with that? So I hate the term choosing the lesser two evils. It's like, I don't think it's the lesser evil to, it's just realizing, yeah, another presidential candidate or politician or like is probably not good, but are they useful? Politics is a pragmatic science, and yeah, I mean, you use things to eliminate the worst disease, and you don't have to say like that thing's perfect or something like that. So I think that's important. I think young guys kind of fall into that kind of doomer mentality, like, and don't participate. I think you actually have a duty to. I definitely would encourage to, if you are interested in politics, to study political philosophy and the history. Just kind of understand where certain contemporary political ideas come from. How some are going to be a lot more kind of devastating and dangerous, and would, in terms of voting and your civic duties and stuff like that, you should be informed and know which ones are the most kind of dangerous. I think that's definitely important. But yeah, Christ is not here to give us politics or something like that. He's here to save and heal us. But he's not saying leave the world. That social cohesion, order, and government is bad, and you should just like negate your duties. We live in a society. So I think that's kind of a healthy and just kind of nuanced about. Just be nuanced and healthy, and not black-pilled about. Let your faith lead you, and inform your conscience as heal your conscience first of all. Think I came in with a bunch of garbage and false stuff. It took me a couple years to get rid of it. I came in as an anarcho-libertarian politically, which is garbage and not compatible with orthodoxy, theistic evolutions, and a Thomistic, neo-Thomist philosopher. And I had to let orthodoxy cure me of and remove those kinds of sicknesses and errors from my mind. So, put first the kingdom of God, do the things in the church that heal us, and acquire the virtues. I know. Yeah, Tupac made Machiavelli popular again. Yeah, that's why I reject the false. Like, I don't frame it in the lesser of two evils. And again, if you have a duty to participate you have civic duties and stuff like that, choosing neither then is also an evil. So these doomers don't get out of, like, there's called sins of omission, right? Like, when you have a duty to do something and you don't. It's also intellectual and laziness and underdeveloped, immature character, to the inability to be like, it's really easy to be like, well, I'm not. Things are difficult and nuanced, and there's problems, and so I'm not going to work. I'm not playing. It's like, it's a childish thing to conclude. Maybe you shouldn't be driving a car either. You don't want to vote and, do your duties and stuff like that, because things are difficult and hard. It's hard to figure out, and there's problems and stuff. Then maybe you should go back into the nursery. Wow, Joe Rogan going to church. Yeah, I should reach out to Father Moses and see if we can get them in contact with one another. I gotta grift harder. What's the grift gonna be? Yeah, Alex Jones's son was either baptized or he was made a catechism. I can't remember now. I mean, obviously, you'd have to become a catechism before you're baptized, but... Would it be irresponsible or wrong to move to... Yeah, might be. I would talk to your priest. I'd be extremely concerned about taking a higher wage job because now you're putting work and money before your first things. Unless something you got to work out with your priest, unless it's a particular situation where, so your family's your first things. If they're in jeopardy or something like that and you need to take that, those are sorts of kind of considerations that might be exceptions to that. But if it's just, it'll be nice to have more money, I'd probably say, yeah, you shouldn't. Wow, that's cool. Well, yeah, let's hope Lord Voldemort's son actually has an influence on his father. So Bitcoin's up. I get these announcements. What does it say? New all-time high. Do you hear that? What was another one I wanted to... Let me see if I can send this. Do you know what's crazy on my... Not only do I have 30, 40 tabs open on my computer, on my phone as well. And look, if I didn't, right now, I wouldn't be able to find this. You guys always give me grief for this. But it's precisely why I have this up. So I'm looking for something right now that I want to send. This one's from Steve Kirsch, did a lot of good research. Oh, it's a conspiracy. Anybody that I mean, we should be at a point in time that anybody uses that as a derogatory, weaponized phrase, conspiracy theory, should totally be discredited. I mean, the origin of it was a weaponized word too, and again, in times past, I might have given people an excuse and pass on that, but I cannot believe people are still using that. I'm just gonna start saying people who use that like that. You're gay. You're Skittles. Only gay people use that anymore. Congratulations. All right, where? Send. Literally, people still using it. It's amazing. And I'm not saying there's not like legitimate dumb things that would fall into that category, but it's just like, it's a typical leftist Frankfurt School kind of move. No meaning whatsoever. It's broad enough to put anything I want in there, and it's a spell word. It's meant to, once you apply it to the person, it puts a spell over everybody else. It's like that person's contaminated. There's the R word. There's the conspiracy theorist phrase. There's the anti-Semite. Like, there's literally meaningless words that are not intended to convey meaning because they're power words. They're an attempt to control the masses, to ostracize you, to delegitimize. I'm gonna say delegitimize you, and it's anti-logos. It's anti-truth. It's anti-reason. Notice this is the the resort of the epistemic despot, the one who cannot reason or provide art because they don't believe in it. They believe in power. They'll use the words love and compassion. They hate you. These are people that are full of hate. A person who is a Machiavellian, right? And I don't mean politically, but the term in Machiavellianism is psychology. Do not see people as an end, but a means only. They hate you. They have contempt for humanity, just the way, that's why it's demonic. The good, the order, truth, beauty, reason, they despise it because it reflects God. And they want to tear it down and destroy it, right? And they're narcissists. They love themselves and they hate you. And you can see it in these people's posts. They're full of anger and hate. They're misanthropes in the truest sense of the word. What if, like, you went to, like... What if you went to jail for using that word? What if there are actual consequences? That's the problem. There's consequences for all the things that there shouldn't be, and no consequences for the things that should be. That's what allows people to say these sorts of things, right? What if there are real consequences to you using that term? What if you lost your job and friends and family members because you'd stop using it? What a backwards world, right? We have the wrong consequences for things that shouldn't have consequences, right? In terms of speech, and all the things that you should, there are no consequences. All right, 1 second. So this was all the way back in 2024. Let's go over. This one's 20. Let's start with the 2023. We just didn't know. Of course we knew it was there. You didn't want to see it. Lancet, the leading medical journal. That's what I'm saying. When I did my research, now the thing that was interesting in 2020 when I wrote the chapter for the book, I encountered something new that I've never experienced before. When I was pulling from CDC, Johns Hopkins, and also World Economic, not World Economic Forum, World Health Organization, all the articles building the case, because what I didn't want to do when I was making that paper is just be like, oh, it's all biased, you're just pulling from your... I went to the actual, their guys, to Lancet, World Health Organization, CDC, Johns Hopkins, etc. And I put that in with the date, when I accessed it, where to be found. They scrapped it. If it wasn't for the Wayback Machine, I don't even know if that works because they were scrapping that too. They're hiding the evidence. I mean, literally a Gnostic world. Well, if it's not on the internet, it never happened. If we said it and I erase it, it never happened. It's not real. I mean, how crazy is that? And these are things that was fine too. So Lancet, most damaging paper of the pandemic was published in Lancet 20 years before they censored. See? They come out and then they're like, uh-oh. A systematic review of autopsy finding deaths after COOF jab. This is Dr. Peter McCullough. Hulsher et al. Have published the largest accumulated autopsy results after the COOF jab from a total of 300. This is like, and more information's come out. I actually I have it written somewhere. I went through and calculated all the numbers. How many? It's like 5 million now or something like that. It's crazy. But let's look at this. We take 325 cases. Independent review found that the jab was the cause of 73.9%. The vast majority out of 325. The vast majority had cardiovascular as a single fatal organ system injury of the body. And what do? People notice it and they scrap it. Why? Had 30,000 views in 24 hours. And then Lancet removed it because the preprint has been removed from preprints with Lancet because the study's conclusions are not supported by the study's method. Joke, dude. So remember we're talking about now the FDA, not me, Federal Drug Administration, is now saying we're pulling it. We're not going to allow Americans to actually, without the proper trial data, in which it has to meet the normal standards, which is what I always ask for, in terms of benefit to harm. Okay? That's pretty low, right? You know, people were arguing like, well, isn't it worth it if we have more? That's not how it works. Or if we save more lives, then no. I mean, if you came out with a medication that was like, it'll save 60 lives, 60% of people, but 40% are going to die from taking the medication. Like, there's no way that you're going to. And we now know that it didn't save lives. So it's ineffective. And there's far more deaths that occurred from it than people even died from the original disease anyways. But think about this. Is there any medication, do you think, like, so, even if it had it was effective in some sense. Let's say it saved lives. We know it didn't. It's not effective. Would you ever release a medication that 74% would actually die? It's insane. Here's another one. CDC lied. This is 2024. U.S. Centers of Disease Control officials found evidence that Pfizer and Moderna jabs caused multiple deaths before claiming that there was no evidence. Yeah, see? There's no evidence. They knew. Then when people find out, they pull the evidence that actually for you to research and find it. When you don't agree with it, just claim it doesn't exist. Scrap it and be like, we never said that. Nope, nobody ever died. What is VAERS at this point? And we'll get more accurate on the VAERS too. Not the one I'm looking for. Why can't I find this? VAERS. The one, like, they make it so hard on this one, too. Oh. 1 second. Let's see if I have it in a... What if I have it in one of these? I think I might have saved it in a favorite. Look at all this stuff. Oh, open bears, that's it. Sorry. Alright, keep this in mind too. This is the formula that we need. There's a formula they calculated. Dr. Jessica Rose. It's called a URF. So, because the underreporting, you can actually use come up with a mathematical formula called URF. Used for the current Department of Defense Medical Epidemiology database. 49. So you times this by 49. Okay. So let's go here. What is this? What did I say? 49,000. This is just the U.S. And this still may not be. So what you want to do is, so we have 49,000 times 49. 2.4 million people dead from the jab. Just in the U.S. Can you believe that? At a modest proposal, right? What as RFK is going to update and make a better system too for reporting it. Obviously, as time goes on, you get more information, and we'll see. And there's still people pushing, and a cult of death. Yeah, are they still going after people on YouTube for covering this? Or is it like, are we past that point? You know what, I'm gonna have to delete this. Just like the CDC. Never happened. We never had this conversation. I got a strike once for uploading Dr. David Patrick Harry's talk from MontaNIKA like 2 years ago or something like that. Well, he wasn't even. I don't even know. He must have just dropped it. Like they must have already. I talked to him about it, and it was unlisted. I just had it like uploaded, and just to keep in my files. And I think Bishop Maxim had requested to get the videos, and I was just gonna send them that way. And I got a strike. So, but that was a while back. But I don't know if they're still doing. Those Rustmania papers are not available to the public, so you cannot find them. They're only available to me and my godson. And we don't have... he's passed away. We don't have explicit permission. I'll have to talk to my godson, who's writing the book, whether he's going to include that or something. But that's why he did not make them public. There are articles so I can't release them to you until... So I apologize. Christ is Lord. I have a bunch. There's like 6 of them, actually, that you guys haven't read. Share the links. Which links? No, he wasn't Orthodox, unfortunately. I think he wanted to be, but his wife was very much evangelical. I don't think he stayed with his wife. Because she didn't want to become Orthodox, as far as I know. Oh. Yeah, hold on. 1. Two. 3. 4. Oh, that one's too long. Shoot. That link's too long for some reason to put in. The one from Epoch Times, and then... Okay. Open Vers is the best one we have for calculating. We'll put that there. The other thing was really interesting too. I think I wrote about this in the paper. Who was I talking to? It must have been was it another philosophy professor? Or just a friend? Oh, it was a Roman Catholic brother, like from a monastery, that comes and plays bluegrass with me. And we're talking Orthodoxy. It turns out he knows Vogelin, he knows Del Noche. Like, it was really, like, his education was really interesting. And he had somebody telling him, we know it's science. It was the scientism. And I'm like, that's crazy. That science can't even get to a knowledge claim. They can't get over the problem of induction, the problems with experiment in itself, the indeterminacy of data, and that you could create Another paradigm with a totally contradictory explanation of, so you have an arbitrariness within science. The problem of getting something to work doesn't mean that's true, and you're claiming we know, like this is knowledge, this is fact, like it's insane. I said everybody would benefit from taking just a class in philosophy of science. Did you realize, we're like, science can't get there? That's crazy. That doesn't mean you abandon science, but right, because it's a pragmatic tool. There are ways of arguing that there's ways to, maybe critical realism to get approached at various levels, the kind of underlying structures, reality and stuff like that. I'm even willing. I don't have to be an anti-realist. I'm willing to accept that, but the full dogmatism that science equals knowledge and it can get there and doesn't, right. And it's totalitarian. It forces you by law, by abolition of the family, right? Enslaving, throwing in jail. Like, that's what's crazy. All in the name of knowledge and facts. You've got it backwards. There is no argument that proves the Trinity if the Trinity is the proof for everything else. Now, we can see that you can see reasons for, like, there is nothing else. That's one. But there's nothing that a disjunction doesn't actually prove the Trinity. The Trinity proves disjunctions. Does that make sense? And furthermore, that's why the argument isn't for a term or a god, like, it's for revelatory theism, and God revealed himself as Trinity. So I can show and give an argument. It's either revelatory theism or it's autonomous epistemology. Autonomous epistemology embraces a contradiction, saying, basically reduces that it's possible that and impossible that the necessary condition exists and doesn't exist, and so it fails, so it must be revelatory theism. And then there's only a few options that, like, which ones actually claim that God entered into the world and revealed in human history, which one's consistent with human history if it's revealed, right? Well, orthodoxy. Furthermore, I can show that, as St. Gregory Nazianzus does, that the other alternatives don't work. But you have to keep in mind, that's not the proof, because that would mean that stands above the Trinity. I can just show you there is no other way. Like, none of these things work. God has to be personal, and it couldn't be personal if it was strict monad. It has to be personal because there's a gap in disproportion between an infinite necessary cause and a finite conditioned limited being. So personhood is a common denominator, bridge between the two. But person implies relation to other persons. So then it's dyad, but dyad is the principle of difference. Monad is one, which means not many, not two, not dyad. And dyad means not one, because it's different. So if God is dyad, then we can't actually say it's God or personal or any of those things, because the two are in antithesis to one another. But as St. Gregory Nazianzus says, the triad completes that. It's neither monad nor dyad, but contains it. So we don't start with one and then get to three. We start with three, which overcomes the dialectics of opposition. Every other number is simply superfluous and reducible to either of those three. So God is Trinity. That's how. So there is no other argument Trinity is the argument for all arguments. Does that make sense? Is it fair to say that science itself is just strictly an empirical domain? Yeah, I define science as the study of natural phenomena, its natural causes. So if you go beyond and start making a bunch of metaphysical claims or epistemic claims and stuff like that, it's like you're not obviously doing science. Yeah. What if I just stop talking until I get more super chats? Maybe I should be meaner. Yeah, I wanted to add the other tab. Sorry, one of them was just too long for some reason. I don't know why. I'm gonna pick up my book and read. No, I'm gonna pick up my phone. Somebody did it. $1. Thank you. That was hard. That was actually really hard too. Thank you so much. Thanks. Thanks for doing these streams. Thank you. I'm a guy who likes to talk, and it is hard for me not to talk. I've actually, several months, have been given the task by my priest to not full silence, but to decrease my talking. Basically, somebody asks you, how you doing? I love to just be like, oh, well, let me tell you what's going on with the blah, blah, blah. And I was instructed to go, fine, how are you? Just super, just enough to just, like, you don't look rude. It's really, really hard for me. So it's helped me, though. So that itself is, and I didn't come up with that challenge. One of you said that, and I was happy to take that challenge not to talk until somebody sent in a super chat. So I thank you. Even if it's $1, that's enough. At least it wasn't 50 cents. 50 cents. So I didn't know Jay was. It says waiting for Jay at 11:15 a.m. Mountain Standard. It's 11:31. I'd like to see if Jay's ever started on time. But it has like updates or something. Like maybe he's waiting for Tristana. I'd like to go on, but after this, I need to get some work done. I want to give a recommend too, if you haven't. Mother Nectaria, St. Nicholas Press published this. She was one of our speakers from MontaNIKA. She's wonderful. This is Dr. Timothy Patisas. I think that's how you pronounce it. We talked a little bit about this last night. For those of you who joined the St. Paisius Brotherhood, I'm actually, because of the success of that and just hearing from the young men, and it was right up, it's exactly, I think, what we needed to talk about. I'm actually thinking about changing my Therapia workshop to betrayal and forgiveness. I was going to focus on some of the work that I've been working on, and that even in the men's retreat talked about, with scrupulosity, hyperdoxy, orthospurgism, hyperrigidity, and stuff like that. But I'm actually thinking betrayal and forgiveness. This theme, what we experienced last night, was so profound that I'm actually thinking I'm just going to take what I learned from last night and what I've been working on with regards to that, and the ethics of beauty, and some of the other stuff that I'm working on, and maybe actually do a workshop on that. Let me answer a question real quick about, does God's foreknowledge determine you? First, you have to see the categorically it's untrue. To know something, or to know something ahead of time, does not determine. Now, there's a way that you could frame that problem, and it's a framing problem. It's incorrect in terms of time and how God relates in time, both outside and inside, that you could set it up where your answer is always, he either doesn't know or you're determined. So I've critiqued that. And what God is, he's not in the categories of our cognitive categories of past and future. I talk about kairos, right? God is in the created time, kairotic time, that's not quantitative. And this is how, and kairos can break into the chronological time, not do away with it. So there's a way in which this is how we encounter God. God is an ever present. So he stands before, if this room, every object in this room could be located in terms of the grammar and logical categories of past, present, and future, then everything in this room, from your view, would be what from somebody's other limited view that can't see it is past and future, and then obviously present. The present's the only, you're an ever fleeting present, you're limited, you can't see. God sees it all at once because he's both in time and outside of time. He's kairotically in time in the chronos, and kairos is both past, present, and future. There's no distinction. They all exist as one. And so the reason why God pre-knows, because he's there simultaneously with you. You determine his knowledge in the simultaneity of time. And this can only be explained the way that I did. So first, there's nothing categorically true that knowledge determines something, an action. Furthermore, once you break the erroneous setup of the problem and then explain in terms of how kairos and chronos works and how God is both transcendent and immanent within time, and that he stands as an ever-present. So all things, the predicates of which you would are tensed and said past, present, future, are just merely present before God. So he knows because he's there in the present, the same way that you know what I'm saying because you're present with me, but your knowledge doesn't determine me. That's the short and sweet of it. Also, if it was determined, it's a defeater too, because if it was determined, then you couldn't actually make any knowledge statements about what you're saying that is determined is true. So it's self-defeating. We did a whole thing on the free will argument from J.P. Moreland when we reviewed that kind of broke that down and showed how both compatibilism and determinism are defeaters for knowledge. Yeah, Jake never starts on time. Still not. Brando Rev commented, great talk. Father, strangely enough, I was watching the clip on furthering Orthodox education on your website. Good. Let's see. Anything else you guys want to go over before we depart? Let's see. My godfather's writing me. Sure. A lot of work to do. I need to go back in and relabel the Patristic Faith Q&A and discussions according to themes. Forgive me, I've been swamped with work. I've been meaning to do that. I don't remember what date it is. I'm going to actually have to look. If it was good, I would have done it right away. You know how Jay does, for example, the X streams, and then after you get people come in, topics come up, he'll go back in and rename the stream. Crazy Protestant crazy Wakanda dude crazy Hebrew roots dude calls in heated debate, right, with Mormon or like. So I haven't put the title in. I need to go back, so forgive me. If somebody remembers when we did that, you could direct our friend here in the chat. I love the Confessions of Saint Augustine. I made my wedding cake 17 years ago into the Confessions. Like, such a nerd. It looked awesome, though. And it tasted good too. It's one of my favorite books. It really is. Yeah, Crazy Cube guy calls in. Oh, I'll keep the good point unlisted logo. If I do rename, I'll keep the dates. Yes. Hold on, let me see if I can put this up. I want to show you guys it. Sfinte Dumeze ule, Sfinte tare, Sfinte fone mote, miluiește ne pe noi. Holy God, Holy Mighty, Holy, where is it? Immortal. I'm trying to send to my email. Oh, what if I do sent? No, didn't go through. Why won't it send to my email? Did I not click? Come on. Here it is. Is there a way to zoom in? I made it too small. That's my wedding cake. 17 years. Coming October will be 18 years. It's Jane Austen's Emma, St. Augustine's Confessions. So they even made it look like, you know, the shine of the leather. And is that cool? I'm at 200%, so it won't. Yep, told you. I wasn't lying. That's the truth. My mic cord went out. Place in Los Angeles called Let Them Eat Cake. It was almost 18 years ago. I don't know if they even exist anymore. Yeah, I can address anger real quick. First of all, you need to identify the triggers that when it comes up, and that those thoughts of anger are not yours. Number two, rather than all or nothing, see if you can actually start recording how much time you spend in it, and each time it comes up, do less and less. Number three, the person that's making you angry, pray for them and do a prostration, and you can increase those. Number four, every time you get angry, go do some act of generosity and almsgiving. So we get angry because of our pride. We've been offended. So we're self-focused. And so again, the opposite, the medicine is the opposite of that. When you get angry, redirect that by going, I need to go give something to somebody. A service, money, charity, those 4 things I'd start with. And then pray, Lord, take this anger from me is another. So it's a holistic thing. It's not just pray or ignore it or something like. That's not how it works in Orthodoxy. Continue all the other things as well. In the liturgy, the sacraments. And forgive. Forgiveness is, in those acts that you're doing, is being released from the captivity of the memory of the past. So what's happening is you're being held captive by certain passions. So I'm giving you specific things in which you can release yourself. Because the forgiveness of the person that's making it doesn't do anything to them. That's why God judges it. Like, your forgiveness doesn't release them. It releases you from captivity. Now, that doesn't mean... It doesn't say forget. Forgiveness is being released from the captivity of the memory of the past. It doesn't say don't remember. That's why you may forgive somebody and you're released from being held captive to that memory, and you don't trust them. You don't enable the situation. You have boundaries and stuff like that. So keep that in mind. Forgiveness is specifically a release from your own captivity. And those things that I prescribed will actually help. And you practice more and more, so you increase more of that in proportion to the time that you spend in anger, while trying to decrease each time the anger comes, the less time you spend in it. So you don't have an all or nothing. Thank you. God bless you, Andrew Muller. All right, I think I'll take one more question. If not, let's depart because I got a bunch of stuff to do. I have, and then 4 o'clock, I have meeting up with the Bluegrass Band to play a concert at some crazy Protestant church. I think it's outside. It's not a church event, obviously. It's just somebody's probably renting the outside or something like that. It's not a worship service. It's not associated with the church. I think somebody's just renting the outside of the church for the band to play. All right. God bless you guys. The Lord keep you and give you strength. Thank you so much for your prayers. I look forward to seeing all of those who can make the MontaNIKA. Don't forget, rooms might depends on if anybody books rooms today. I thought they said there were 2 left of yesterday. So if you wait too long, you won't be able to get. Let's see real quick if there's anything available. Looks like there still might be, as far as on the website, one king, like at least one king available, and there's 2 queen beds. So, but I don't know if those are the last 2. I was just informed yesterday that somebody said there were only a few left when they had called. So, okay, here is Jay's. If he ever goes on, you can go raid. There. Or if Jim Bob's going either way. Until tomorrow, may the Lord again bless you and keep you and preserve you. And let His grace and love shine upon you. Bye bye, guys. Thank you so much for your support. Good stream. Until next time. Bye bye.